Every year, millions of tons of plastic disappear from our sight, but they never disappear from the earth. Some water bottles are used for only a few minutes, yet they can remain in the environment for hundreds of years. With every wave, more trash is carried onto the shoreline, and with every gust of wind, plastic fragments are blown even farther away. But in the middle of this seemingly endless battle, there are people who spend their entire days tracking down what everyone else has thrown away. They do not hunt for treasure. They do not chase criminals. What they pursue are plastic bottles, nylon bags, and countless pieces of waste that silently pollute the environment. Every morning, while most people are just starting their day, they are already at the places where trash appears most frequently. Their work is dirty, exhausting, and almost never-ending. Yet if these people disappeared, the consequences would be far greater than most of us can imagine. This is the story of plastic waste trackers, people trying to stop every small piece of trash before it becomes a massive problem. To understand why this work exists, we first need to know what they are fighting against. Their biggest enemy is not harsh weather or long hours under the hot sun. It is plastic. A material that has transformed the modern world thanks to its convenience and low cost. Plastic is everywhere, from water bottles and food containers to everyday shopping bags. The problem is that most of these items are used for only a very short time. After being discarded, they do not simply disappear as many people think. Under the effects of sunlight, wind, and ocean waves, plastic only breaks into smaller pieces. These microplastics continue to exist in the environment for many years, even decades. They spread into rivers, parks, beaches, and eventually the oceans. Every day, the fight against plastic waste continues. And that is the battlefield these waste trackers step into. So who exactly are the people on the front lines of this fight? They are not scientists in laboratories or well-known media figures. Most of them are sanitation workers and ordinary laborers. One group consists of beach cleaners. They start early in the morning when the beaches are still quiet. They walk for kilometers along the shoreline to collect waste. Plastic bottles, nylon bags, and abandoned fishing nets must all be removed. Another group works in parks and urban areas. They deal with smaller amounts of waste, but it appears continuously every day. Fast food packaging and single-use plastics are what they encounter most often. Their work repeats endlessly. Because the trash always comes back even after being cleaned. There are also workers in the recycling industry. They sort and process plastic waste inside factories. This job requires patience and high endurance. Although they work in different places, they share the same goal: keeping the environment from being overwhelmed by waste. A typical day for plastic waste trackers often begins while the city is still asleep. On empty beaches, they slowly walk along the cold early morning sand. The job seems simple but requires great patience. They must observe every small trace left by the ocean overnight. Not only large plastic bottles, but even tiny fragments must be collected. In urban areas, the pace changes completely. Sanitation workers move constantly through streets and parks. Trash appears almost immediately after they leave. This turns the job into an endless cycle. Inside recycling plants, everything happens in tighter and noisier spaces. Hands continuously sort different types of materials. No matter where they are trying to prevent the environment from being overwhelmed by waste. The most surprising thing about this work is not its difficulty or harsh conditions. It is the fact that most of what they collect is not actually processed the way people think. Many types of plastic must go through strict sorting processes after collection. Only a small portion is truly recyclable. The rest is often discarded due to contamination or failure to meet standards. This makes the job more of a filtering process than a complete solution. Another reality is that waste passes through many different processing systems. A discarded plastic bottle may go through several intermediate steps before final disposal. All of this shows that plastic waste is far more complex than simply collecting it. It is a system where every step determines the fate of the waste. Income in the plastic waste collection and processing industry in the United States is not as uniform as many people think. For basic roles such as waste collectors or sorting workers, wages usually range from about $13 to $20 per hour. In higher cost areas, wages may increase due to allowances or experience. Truck drivers or specialized waste vehicle operators can earn more, sometimes exceeding $25 to $30 per hour with proper licenses. However, this is not a job that makes someone rich quickly. Most people in this industry choose it for stability and long-term employment opportunities. Some companies even view it as a second-chance industry, offering jobs to people who have faced difficulties in the past. In addition to base pay, some positions include benefits such as insurance and training support. Although the income is not high compared to many other fields, the work plays an important role in environmental management systems. And in reality, without them, the social cost of pollution would be far greater. The greatest pressure on plastic waste trackers does not come only from physical labor, but from the feeling of endless repetition. Every day they clean an area, but the next day the trash returns. This creates a cycle that is almost impossible to break. Unlike jobs with clear results, this work rarely provides a sense of completion. Even when a beach is cleaned, a change in wind or water currents can bring everything back again. Many workers admit that the hardest part is psychological. It feels like chasing a goal that keeps moving one step further away. Still, they continue working every day because they know the situation would be far worse without them. The pressure is not about how much they do, but about the fact that they cannot stop. And that is what makes this job a silent, never-ending battle. The climax of the story is not a dramatic moment, but a truth that makes many people stop and think. Even though thousands of people collect and process waste every day, the amount of plastic released into the environment continues to rise. This means the fight is not only the responsibility of field workers. It is part of a much larger system involving how humans produce, consume, and dispose of goods. Every plastic item used for only a few minutes can leave consequences lasting decades. Waste trackers may clean one area today, but tomorrow everything starts again. And that reality raises a difficult question. Are they solving the problem, or simply slowing down something that cannot be stopped? There is no simple answer to this. But one thing is certain, without them, the situation would become far worse than we can imagine. As the sun slowly sets on the horizon, the beaches return to their familiar silence. Footprints on the sand are gradually erased by the waves, as if no one had ever been there. But the work of plastic waste trackers is never truly finished. They leave, but the environment continues to face what humans have left behind. In the glow of sunset, plastic bags and small fragments still remain somewhere, waiting to be found the next day. Few people notice that the cleanliness of these places is not natural. It is the result of hours of silent, anonymous, and almost unrecognized labor. While most people enjoy the beauty of nature, others are quietly preserving that beauty for one more day. And perhaps the most important thing is not the amount of waste they collect, but the fact that there are people who continue doing it, every single day, without stopping.